I'm Kim Hartwell. Thank you so much for joining me for my Yoga for Climbers series. Today we're going to be focusing on hip strengthening and hip mobility. It's particularly important with climbing. So if you're like me, we absolutely love climbing, can't get enough of it, but unfortunately it's quite harsh on our bodies. I was actually speaking to a physio the other day who said it might actually be the harshest thing we can do on our bodies, but we love it and it does so many other wonderful things for us. So we're not going to stop climbing, so what we need to do is a little bit of damage control, and that's where your yoga comes into it. So yoga can be an amazing way of improving your climbing technique. Think about how much we need to get our hip closer to the wall. Think about how much we need to step off of our feet and kind of tip over on those rockovers. This all requires a lot of hip mobility and strength. And often what we can find is that we're either super tight in the hips, which is very, very common. So maybe we don't have that range to reach, or otherwise we might have flexibility. So we have the ability to reach, but maybe not have the control. And that's where injuries lie. I can tell you from past experience, that's how I injured my hip, and I don't want you to do the same, so learn from my mistakes. So this is what this yoga flow is all about. So it's going to be a focus on lengthening through the hamstrings and the groin, building stability and strength in our single leg movement so we can get up when we're solving those roots, and it will lead us to happy, healthy climbing. So thanks for joining me. We're going to get stuck in. So we're going to go ahead and get started in our child's pose. So just bring our knees apart, toes together, and just start to reach your arms forward. Just allow yourself to come onto your yoga mat this morning. Just start to focus on your breath. And in yoga, our breath allows us to become grounded and focused and present in the current moment. So just taking your time to focus in, taking a deep inhale through the nose, and a full exhale through the mouth. Just one more, deep inhale. And full exhale through the mouth. Just feeling how that breath grounds us and softens us. Our hips sink down towards the heels. And then from there, just slowly start to work your hands back up to all fours. So the wrists come underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And we're just going to take a bit of a wiggle here. So just start to rotate your hips to the left and to the right. And know that it doesn't have to look any particular way at all. So we're just working our way through our bodies, just seeing how it feels. So it's different every single time we come on the mat. So just breathing, tuning into that. Maybe you've got some parts that need a little bit more love and attention than the others. And it really helps to close your eyes with this one, just sending the breath a little bit more. So from child's pose, just slowly start to work your hands back through to center, and we'll come onto all fours. So the wrists are underneath the shoulders and the knees are underneath the hips. From there, I just want you to take some hip circles. So just starting to circle left and right. You can take figure eights. And what I found really nice is to close your eyes when you do this. So this is going to really allow you to send the focus a little bit more internally. Just checking in, your body's going to be different every time you turn up to your mat. So just breathing, softening, feeling into the body, moving with the breath. And eventually starting to come through to center, come to stillness. And from there, we're going to go ahead and get right into the side of our glutes and making sure they're nice and strong for our climbing. So taking your right knee out towards the right-hand side. You'll notice there's a tendency to want to lean over towards your left-hand side here. See if you can recenter. So the back should be straight and that knee comes up to the side. And what you'll notice is it won't take very long for the body to start to warm up. And that little side butt of mine is shaking quite a bit already. It's just waking it up. So this is our glute medius. It's really important for stabilizing our hips, which as it will know is super important to keep us safe with our climbing. So just staying there for now. And then you're going to slowly start to bring the right knee down and then take it back up to the side. Coming back. Remember, slow and steady. Your weight is central, so you're not cheating by reaching over to the left-hand side. You're keeping it nice and center. Just take one more like that. Take it all the way out to the right-hand side. And then start to bring that right knee towards your right elbow. Feels a little weird, right? And then eventually step that right leg all the way through to the top of your mat. Inhale, sweeps the arms all the way above the head. Coming into our low lunge. The ribs tuck in tight, and that left hip's going to creep forward a little bit just to get into the front of the hips. Breathing there. Start to interlace the hands behind your back. Open through the chest, breathe, work into the shoulders. Just remember to check in with that breath whenever you can. It's going to help build space in the body, breathing space into the body. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, float the hands down to the mat, step back into a plank position, and then from there, just release your knees, chest, chin to the ground, elbows hugging tight. Big inhale as a baby cobra, chest lifts, squeeze the bum. Exhale back, down dog. Come back to your all fours. We'll take it on the other side, so knees right underneath the hips, wrists underneath the shoulders, and taking it to the left-hand side this time. So just taking your left knee out to the side, like that little fire hydrant motion. It's kind of like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. They call it fire hydrant, I believe that is why. So just slowly, just recentering, and then just feeling that muscle switch on. It's often fairly weak in some of us. So just sending the energy and focus to that area first, and then slowly lowering and lifting. Breathe. Super tough, right? Just take 2 more. And on the last one, lift it all the way out to the side. No cheating. And then left knee comes towards the left shoulder. Left elbow, and then place the left foot all the way through to the top of your mat, coming into that low lunge. So inhale, lift the arms, open through the chest. Rather than sinking back, we're thinking about the hips shifting forward, the ribs sucking in, breathing space into the hip flexor. And then start to interlace the hands behind the back, open through the chest. So this is quite a nice way to warm up for your climbing. You can use it as a cool down as well. You can use it completely in isolation. Whatever you do, make sure you get your stretching and your yoga in. It's going to keep you happy climbing and injury-free. Also make us a better climber. From there, inhale, lift the arms all the way above the head. Step back into that plank position, taking your knees, chest, chin to the ground, elbows hugging tight. Inhale as a baby cobra, chest is lifted, squeeze the bum. Exhale back, down dog. Staying in our down dog this time. And in your downward facing dog, you're thinking about your fingers spread wide, like big starfish. So it's going to really help with the grip on the mat. Feet are about hip width apart. And here you can take any movements that you like. Maybe that's pedaling through the knees. Maybe it's shaking the head yes and no. Just release any tension going on in the neck. As climbers, we tend to have a little bit of tension going on there. So just opening through that section. And the main focus of your down dog is a tailbone being towards the sky. So if you need to bend the knees a little bit more to let that happen, that's okay. And from there, we're just going to slowly start to walk the feet all the way to the top of your mat, meeting in a forward fold. So interlacing the elbows, just allowing yourself to hang heavy, just surrendering to gravity a little bit here. From there, start to walk the toes to touch, squeeze the inner thighs. Inhale, lift yourself all the way up to standing. Exhale, bring your prayer to your heart center, close down the eyes. And again, just refocusing on your breath. Full inhales and full exhales. On the inhale, sweep the arms above your head, still squeezing in the thighs. On the exhale, forward fold, push the hips towards the back of the room. Inhale to halfway lift, straighten through the spine, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, step back to your plank position. You have the option to take knees, chest, chin, which we did before. Otherwise, elbows come at 90 degrees to our chaturanga. Float over the toes, so the tops of the toes are on the ground. Squeeze the bum, rotate the elbows forward. And exhale back to your downward facing dog. Breathe. In your downward facing dog, float the right leg towards the sky. And then from there, we're going to take a little bit of a trickier movement, again, working in our glute medius. So taking your right leg to the right-hand side, see how far you can reach it, but all the while not leaning to the left-hand side. So center your weight, holding it there, sweep it all the way back through to center. 2 more times. Take it out to the right, and then back through to center. Last time, all the way to the right. You're going to sweep it all the way to the top of your mat this time. So take it as far out as wide as you can, reaching at the top of the mat. This time we're going to inhale to a high lunge. So the back knee is lifted, hips square off to the front of the room. Breathing. And then from there, you're just going to start to float the hands a little bit in front of the foot. You can take blocks here if you have them. So if you need to, you can take 2 blocks where your hands are. Start to hover the back leg off of the ground. You can keep a slight bend in the knee if you need to, just pointing the top leg towards the sky. And from there, again, engage down the back of the right leg. So on the exhale, take your left knee behind your right heel. So like a little curtsy. And then inhale, sweep the leg back towards the sky. Exhaling down, really ground through that heel. It's going to allow the glutes to switch on a little bit more. Inhale to lift. 2 more times like that. Exhaling down. And inhale to lift. Last one. Exhaling down. And then inhale, lift the legs. From there, slowly start to float the leg all the way towards the back of your mat. Turn the right foot in towards the left-hand side. We're going to come into a little Skandasana. So bending in the right knee. I'm just going to face towards you for a second. So bending the right knee. The chest is lifted. You can use your hands if you need to. You're going to squeeze the thighs. You start to work your way all the way to the back of your mat. So you're now towards the back of your mat. Place the hand down towards the ground. And then start to float the right leg towards the sky. Breathing. You have the option, you can stay where you are, or maybe you take little handstand hops if you want a little play. Sometimes fun. Don't worry too much about where those legs go. You're just slowly lifting and straightening through the legs. Doesn't matter if yours looks a little bit more like that. It takes a bit of practice, don't worry. And from there, just allow the leg to come back down towards the ground. Breathe. So you'd actually be facing towards your other side. So I'm just catching up with you, don't worry. Downward facing dog. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So lift the left leg towards the sky. And then from there, just slowly starting to take the left leg out towards the left-hand side. Even out the weight through the body. Come back through to center. Take the left leg to the left-hand side. And then come back through to center. Super hard, eh? And then take your left leg all the way out to the side, all the way back out and around to the top of your mat. Inhale, sweep to your high lunge, back leg straight, breathing. On the exhale, start to take your hands in front of your mat, in front of your foot, maybe on those blocks, floating the foot off towards the sky, right leg towards the sky. And then again, taking those little bends. So take your right knee behind your left heel. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. And inhale, lift. Super nice for stabilizing our hips. Exhale, down. And inhale to lift. Last time, exhale down. And inhale to lift. From there, slowly start to float the right foot towards the back of your mat. And then take your little side squat. Again, left knee is bent this time. Squeeze the inner thighs, find that range. So you're not dumping into your joints, you're squeezing, finding that strength through your mobility, and then slowly start the work all the way to the top of your mat. Again, sweeping the leg towards the sky, taking a little handstand hops if you like, but you don't have to. It's just fun. That bit's just fun. And then eventually come back through to your downward facing dog. Breathe. And then from there, we're just going to slow it down a little bit. On the inhale, take your right leg to the sky. And then bring your right knee behind your right wrist. Your shin is about 45 degrees at the top of your mat. If you have a cushion or a block and there's a gap between your hip and the floor, it's a nice option to take it there. Squaring off the hips. Inhale, lift the chest. On the exhale, slowly start to sink your way down. So working into the hip flexors and glutes, we work them super hard. Breathing and softening there. Thinking about the left hip gravitating slightly towards the front and the right hip gravitating slightly back. Squaring off through the hips. Breathing. From there, just start to work your hands back towards you. Bring your right foot to the outside of both hands. Left knee can come onto the ground. Coming into a lizard position. Inhale, lifts the chest. Exhale, sinks deeper. Staying on your hands, or maybe you start to take it down to your elbows if it's in your practice. You don't have to, so just not pushing anywhere that doesn't feel kind to your body. We want to stretch it, but we don't want to injure ourselves in the process. So just breathing and being kind. If you're on your elbows, work your way back up to center, and then just start to walk the right foot on the inside of the foot. of the hand, sorry. Then slowly starting to straighten out the front leg. The left knee might want to shift a little bit back first. So the hip stacks on top of the knee, flexing the foot. On the inhale, lift the chest. On the exhale, sink deeper so the chest comes towards the toes. Just working into the back of the hamstring. Again, a really nice area to work on for our climbing. Breathe. Start to bend the front right knee. Place the left hand on the inside of the right foot. Right arm's going to come towards the sky. Maybe that back knee lifts off of the ground. Place the right hand back down to the mat. Step back into a plank. Option to take your vinyasa, so either knees, chest, chin to baby cobra, or coming through your half push up to up dog, or you can just meet back and down dog. Everyone will meet back and downward dog eventually. On the inhale, take your left leg, let's do the other side. Left knee behind left wrist, shin about 45 degrees, squaring off the hips, opening through the chest. And on the exhale, slowly start to work your way down into your half pigeon pose on the other side. Remember, you can take any options with your blocks if you took them on the other side. And you can always stay on your elbows or stay on your hands here. It can be quite uncomfortable, especially if you're not used to it. So not judging where you are, we're just breathing space into the hips and glutes. Being kind to our bodies, preparing them for epic sense. Taking your left leg towards the outside of both hands, take our lizard pose again. Hands on the inside, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, sink deeper, maybe staying there with your hands, or maybe you start to work your elbows down. Taking this moment to breathe. Eventually, you'll start to work your way back to your hands. If you're not on them already, left foot comes to center. And then from there, just slowly starting to extend the front leg. The toes towards the nose. Maybe the back knee starts to step back so it's underneath the hip. On the inhale, lift the chest. On the exhale, sink a little bit deeper into a half split variation. Breathe. Chest to toes rather than head to nose. And eventually you're going to start to bend the left knee. Place your right hand on the inside of the left foot. The left arm comes towards the sky. Maybe that back knee starts to lift. Option to come back into your plank. Go straight to down dog, or you come through a vinyasa. Exhale, back down dog. Breathing there. Whew. And then from there, you're just going to bend the knees, and you can just jump yourself all the way through to a seated position. And that's however you want to do that. Eventually, you're going to start to work your way all the way down to your mat. We made it to our mat, feels good. From there, start to hug your knees towards your chest, give yourself a nice giant hug. All that good work we've just done. Well done, us. And then from there, we'll finish with a spinal twist. So take your right knee towards your chest, your left leg extends. Right knee comes over to the left-hand side and gaze towards your right-hand side. So just working the shoulder back down towards the mat. So the focus here is your shoulder being on the mat rather than necessarily getting your other knee on the mat. Just breathing here. And particularly in this area, it's where our lung tissue is and where our diaphragm is. So breathing really helps to create space. So inhale. And on the exhale, sink a bit deeper into the twist. Inhale, lengthening. And exhale, twisting a little deeper. Really nice for getting into the side of the glute here as well. Eventually work your way back through to center. Just reset the spine. And then other side, left knee towards your chest. And taking your left knee to the right hand side, gazes towards your left hand side, allowing the shoulder to come down to the mat, allowing yourself to breathe. And lastly, working yourself back to center, hug your knees towards your chest. And then settling for your final resting pose, bringing your legs in front of you. If you're going climbing, then you can go straight into your climbing. Otherwise, it can be nice to spend a little bit of time here as a little meditation, pre-climbing too, or surrendering to relaxation. If you're going to finish the practice here, and just taking this moment of stillness before going back into your day. Take a deep inhale through the nose. And a full exhale through the mouth. Just one more time, deep inhale. And a full exhale through the mouth, let it go. You can stay here as long as you wish. Allowing our yoga practice to take place in our body. And there's no rush, but in your own time you can wiggle your fingers and toes. Bring your knees towards your chest. Slowly rock over to your right hand side. You can use your arms as a pillow if that feels nice. And eventually start to bring yourself all the way to a comfortable seated position, however that is for you. Place the palms on the knees wherever they are. Shoulders relaxed. Sitting up tall. Taking a deep inhale there. And a full exhale. Just one more time like that. Deep inhale. And full happy climbing sigh out through the mouth. And then from there, bring your prayer to your heart center. Just noticing where your mind and your body is at after your practice. Maybe taking that with you for the rest of your day or into your climbing session. Together we say namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Well done for putting in the effort. I promise you it's worthwhile for your hip health, and for getting in your climbing technique is going to make you even better. Thank you for joining me, and do stay tuned. We're going to do a few more in the series of Yoga for Climbers. I hope you enjoy it. Please let me know any comments, any requests or questions underneath. I'd love to help. Happy climbing.